3 lifelong friends, 6 trusty balls, and endless NFL takes. Welcome to 3 Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast.
Welcome to episode 52 of 3 Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast. I'm your host, Joel, and I'm here with my 2 co-hosts, Wil and Avery. The NFL Combine is officially over, and if you watched it, hopefully you didn't think it was as boring as Jets head coach Aaron Glenn did.
All right,
He
hold
fell
on,
asleep.
pause. Pause, because I've got some thoughts about this. Matter of fact, later today, a little bit of behind the curtain here. We're talking about draft winners. Honorable mention, Aaron Glenn, draft winner, or combine winner, excuse me. You know how long and boring that is? And that dude for the Jets is like, even in the Jets, this is boring. We need more help than anybody in the league for like a generation now. And I still find this crap boring. I think it was ballsy of him to fall asleep there in Lucas Oil Stadium. I think he's a winner for that. Also, 52, that means we've been doing this for 1 year, guys. Happy 1 year anniversary.
Oh, shoot.
You know, I was thinking about that today, actually, because I think our first episode was released on like the 13th of March. And so that doesn't make sense because this is the 52nd episode, but we still have like 2 weeks before we get there. So I'm not sure how that works. But
I don't know how to count.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Maybe we skipped an episode or 2 in there somewhere. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. But anyways, since the NFL Combine just happened, so we decided to change the plan a little bit for today's episode. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over some NFL Combine winners and losers, as Will mentioned. And then with whatever time we have left, we're going to get into some more scattering reports for you guys today. So we'll just go ahead and get started with the winners and losers from the NFL Scouting Combine. So Avery, why don't you start us off? Pick a winner for us, and we'll just take turns. Pick a winner for us, Avery.
I'm going to start with the obvious. You guys know what I'm going to talk about. Kenyon Sadiq. Dude is a legend. Wild athlete. I think he just kind of, to me, as an Oregon Ducks fan, none of that surprised me. I didn't know he was quite that fast or could jump quite that high, but I knew he could. I mean, in the same breath, I kind of have to also mention Eli Stowers. I mean, that guy, to me, he just seems like a big receiver. It really just like a receiver that just got a little too big, and his coaches were like, we're going to have you play tight end. That being said, I think Sadiq is more of a true tight end than Stowers. I think he, can easily be put into blocking schemes a lot easier than Stowers. But to me, Sadiq, I mean, that solidified. Yeah, he is the true number one, followed by Stowers. But I feel like why is this man playing tight end? He should clearly just be a big receiver.
Yeah, I think Kenyon Sadiq's performance at the NFL Combine, I think that will secure his spot as a top 15 draft pick, in my opinion. But I do want to touch on Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers as well, because that dude is also an athletic freak at tight end. So Sadiq scored a 94 athleticism score at the Combine. Eli Stowers had a score of 90 at the Combine. So he was right behind Sadiq. He ran a 4.51 40. He had a 1.59 second 10-yard split, 45.5-inch vertical, and an 11-foot 3-inch broad jump, which is insane. Eli Stowers is a guy that's been on my radar for a while because I've been looking at tight ends a lot because the Buccaneers need a tight end. And so he was one of the guys that really stood out to me when I was watching his tape. Eli Stowers is a former quarterback who started playing tight end in 2023, actually. So he hasn't been playing the position for very long, but I think Stowers uses his quarterback background to his advantage. He's very intelligent with the way he runs routes because as a former quarterback, he knows where his quarterback wants him to be. And so he's seen everything from the quarterback's perspective, and he uses every bit of his knowledge from the tight end position that he had as a quarterback. So I think for teams that miss out on Kenyon Sadiq in the first round, Eli Stowers is going to be a great second option for them in the second round.
Kenyon Sadiq set the record for tight ends on the vertical jump at 43.5. And then 1 minute of time goes by, and Stowers comes in and jumps an inch higher. And it's like, oh my gosh, come on. If I were Sadiq, I would still say at one time I held the record. I would still throw it in there. It doesn't matter. It was 1 minute only. I would still say it.
All right, Will, pick a winner for us. Who's your 2026 NFL Combine winner?
I'm going with Jeff Caldwell, wide receiver.
From Cincinnati?
From Cincinnati.
Dude, that dude, isn't he like 6'5"?
He's 6'5", 6'6" right now. I don't know what his actual height measurement came in at. 40-yard dash, 4.31. 6'5", 216 pounds, ran a 4.31 40, 42-inch vertical leap, and an 11'2" broad jump. Set the record.
A 99 athleticism score.
Yeah, dog. He didn't set any record. Sorry, I'm thinking about my next guy. He's a day 3 wide receiver, unfortunately, and it's because of his team production. He ended up with 478 yards this season. Their top receiver had 674 receiving yards, and so no one on their team had very many receiving yards. He was third on his team with 478. He was second with 32 receptions. He had 1 touchdown every 4 receptions this last season. He's an absolute freak athlete who can catch the ball very well, but played for a team that didn't utilize ball throwing that much. That's the reason that Brendan Sorsby's leaving Cincinnati and going somewhere else. I don't know where he ended up going, but they all left Cincinnati. And so Jeff Caldwell kind of went under the radar first. 99 athleticism score, first over receivers, but his production score was only a 68. And so he'll be a day 3 receiver that you're going to have to train up and to get going. But he's got real size, real athleticism. And when you are looking for that in a draft where most wide receivers, at least athleticism-wise, most of the first-round wide receivers either didn't participate or didn't do well when they did participate. And so there's a real opening for athletic wide receivers right now. And Jeff Caldwell showed up in a big way.
Yeah, I think one thing we've learned from the previous NFL drafts is if you can run fast as a receiver, you're getting drafted a round higher than you probably actually should be. So I think Caldwell actually boosted himself up at least 1 round in the draft because he ran a fast 40 time. So good for him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with kind of an obvious one here. This is Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. Because of his performance, because of his performance at the NFL Combine, I think Sonny Styles secured himself as a top 5 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Every GM who's drafting after the Raiders should remember the words of Sonny Weaver Jr. from the movie Draft Day, Vontae Mack, no matter what. Forget positional value, forget whatever position you need more. If you or any of the GMs drafting after the Raiders, it'd be Sonny Styles, no matter what. He's an absolute freak of an athlete who will be a centerpiece of a defense for the next 10 plus years. He absolutely crushed the NFL Combine. That dude is just an insane athlete.
I saw that his player comparison that they gave him on I think it was Rich Eisen or whoever the other guy was, the Megatron, Calvin Johnson was his player comparison they gave him. I'm like, that is freaking wild. Wild. Especially just for like a... No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Wait, who gave him comparison?
I can't remember who it was. There's someone on NFL Network.
Oh, okay. I was going to say because somebody on NFL.com compared Denzel Boston to Puka Nacua, so you can only take that with...
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not seeing any of these as real. I just see the fact that they would even dare put up Calvin Johnson for this guy is just shows like, okay, the whole point of Sonny Styles is that he is kind of a defensive jackknife. Like he can do kind of whatever. And so, I mean, he was playing safety a year ago and maybe 2 years ago, but at this point it's like, okay, like you said, no matter what, you got to pick Sonny Styles.
Oh yeah. Will, sorry, what were you going to say?
I don't remember anymore, so it obviously wasn't that important.
Okay. All right, Avery, well, give us another winner of the 2026 NFL Combine.
I'm going to go with I've got some other ones that I think are more obvious, but I'll leave one of those to Will for sure. But I thought Dylan Thieneman, another Oregon guy.
He's one of the guys I had too.
I thought he crushed it. I don't know what the deal is, what's in the water, but the white boys are making a return to the secondary. And it's wild, too, considering you see a lot of these records being broken, like, every year. It's kind of like the Olympics, where it just kind of shows, like, man, like, so is everyone just from a previous 4 years just, like, not as strong or fast or good or whatever? And part of this is, you have better technology. There's also NIL money, so you can use this to, better prep yourself, get better trainers, get better, basically coaching and stuff on the side, to get yourself ready. Even with that, these white boys are still making a comeback, and it's wild to see. Dylan Thieneman is a freak athlete. Another one of those guys that just had older brothers that were older and bigger that could kind of, put the pain on him to, get him to that next level. But, I mean, I thought he was insane at Purdue. He was crazy good at Oregon. Ended the game, Penn State, whiteout game. dude's a freak, and I think he's going to be a great safety in the league.
Have you guys heard of the CCU? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, the Caucasian Collision Unit.
Yeah, with Thieneman and Bryce Betcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dylan Thieneman is absolutely a winner from the NFL Combine. He's one of those players who was like a fringe first-round player leading up to the Combine, but after his performance, I think he secured himself a spot as a first-round pick. We see this every year where a player is in that range to possibly go in the first, but might go in the second. Then they run a fast 40 time, and because they run a fast 40 time, they get drafted in the first round. Like you saw it with Matthew Golden last year. You saw it with Xavier Worthy the year before. So Dylan Thieneman's 4.35 40 time secured him a spot in the first round for sure. All right, well, give us your second winner from the 2026 Combine.
I have Arkansas quarterback Talon Green. I don't know if you saw any of his stuff. Again, this is a late second day, early third day guy. Fastest 40 time from a quarterback. It actually posted the second fastest quarterback 40 time since 2003 behind Michael Vick. And again, it's at the Combine. People are like, what about Robert Griffin? At the Combine specifically, was a 4.36 40. He had a 43.5 vertical jump and 11'2" broad jump, which are both records for quarterback at the Combine. 97 athleticism score, 6'6", 227 pounds, 34 3/4 arm length, 9 7/8 hand size. The dude is an athletic freak. The problem is he can't play football. Like, that's his actual problem. He is an absolute athletic freak. And there's going to be Arkansas fans. I'm sure Tim will have an opinion on that. There's going to be Arkansas fans that are going to be like, oh, he's so good. He's the best. Listen, Arkansas themselves are very hit and miss on this guy. Half like him, half don't. When he can get outside the pocket and run, he does very well. When they keep him inside the pocket, his decision-making, not good. And so he'll have a lot to learn on the field, which is why he'll be a day 2, day 3 guy. But athletically, it's almost like another Taysom Hill, where he's incredibly athletic, could move at 6'6". You can move him around, you put him at tight end, you can hand him the ball, and he's a multi-threat athlete. I don't know how well he can catch, but he just needs to learn how to play quarterback. And somebody asked him at the Combine. Somebody asked him, hey, what are your thoughts about moving to wide receiver? And he full on gave it the I'm a quarterback. Next question. Okay, well, flexibility is not, you're going to have some of that. But Talon Green, I actually would not hate the Rams taking him day 3, day 2. Definitely not day 1.
So I think what I'm taking from this, Will, is that NFL.com has his player comp listed as Lamar Jackson. Is that right?
Probably, because why not? Because let's just pick the only other guy that we know that can run the football and throw it. I think coming out of college, I think Josh Allen might be a better comparison. He played in the Shrine Game, and he can throw a deep ball very well. And it sometimes hits its mark. But that was Josh Allen's big thing coming out of college, is his accuracy was not as good. Has an arm and the athletic ability to do whatever he wants, just has to dial in that accuracy. And it's the same thing with Talon Green, is that he has the arm talent to throw the ball all over the field. He is athletic enough to run away from you, especially at a 4.36 40 time. He just has to, dial in the IQ and the decision making and the accuracy. So,
I'm going to put that comp on the internet, and you're going to get absolutely roasted.
Do it. Do it. Did I give a hoot about the internet?
I'm going to go with his teammate at Arkansas, which is Arkansas running back Mike Washington Jr. Yep. He had a 92 athleticism score. And Mike Washington Jr. is a 6'1", 223-pound running back who just ran for over 1,000 yards last season while averaging 6.4 yards per carry. He's got the speed, he's got the size, and when you watch his tape, all he does is just make people miss. He's got the speed to run by people. He's got the size to run through tackles. Before the Combine, I thought he would be a day 3 pick, but I think he really put himself on the radar with several teams with his Combine performance, and I think he moved himself into the day 2 conversation. I'm not saying that he will for sure be drafted on day 2, but I think he at least put himself in that conversation. So he's definitely going to be drafted higher than he was going to be before his performance at the Combine. I think a lot of people were expecting him to run fast, but I don't think they were expecting him to run that fast. So, and I don't know if you guys watched the video of him after he ran his 40 time, but he was like, yeah, that was awesome to see. Like, he was like, yeah, I just made some money for my family. Like, that was cool. That was cool to see. So good for him. All right. Well, do you guys have any other winners you want to mention before we move on to the losers?
I think I'm amazed that Jeremiah Love has not been brought up. Maybe it's because it's obvious, but I think, I mean, he was already the number one running back, but I think that kind of cemented it in just, okay, this guy is, he will be the first running back off the board. I thought he just crushed it. I thought he looked healthy too. Not that he's not going to look healthy, but just more just robust. Because that's usually my main knock on running backs is that it's I don't know, it's like a little sports car, a little German engineered sports car where it's like, yeah, I mean, you can get it. It might be expensive to fix, I don't know how reliable it's going to be, if you got a big workload, but I thought he looked great. So just want to throw his name out there.
Yeah. The reason I didn't pick him or bring him up is because there was other players like Sonny Styles who moved themselves up the draft more. Because when you look at mock drafts before the combine, Jeremiah Love was already being mocked to like the Saints at 8 or the Chiefs at 9. And now he's still being mocked to the Saints at 8 or the Chiefs at 9. Like he's in the exact same position that he was before. But Sonny Styles was a guy who is being projected to go to like the Buccaneers at 15. And there's no chance of that happening now
Right.
because he's going to be in the top 5, like for sure, in my opinion. He's a top 5 pick. So I think Sonny Styles is a guy who moved himself up the draft board versus a guy like Jeremiah Love. I think he just kind of put himself right in the same position that he already was at. So I think he had a good combine. I just didn't pick him as a winner for that reason. All right, so let's move on to the losers. Avery, who's your draft combine loser?
I've got a couple, but I do want to say that I didn't think that anyone really, I mean, I don't know, like looking at some of these speed comparisons between certain guys, like, oh, Kenyon Sadiq, oh, he's faster than Justin Jefferson, he's faster than Bijan Robinson kind of thing, where it's like, okay, well, more than anything, it's like, okay, yeah, he might be faster, but these other two guys are proven commodities in the NFL. It's almost like, okay, so on one hand, you could say, oh, look, this guy's even faster than them. But then you could also say, like, but if their speeds aren't that great and they're still that successful, maybe the speed isn't as important. Maybe this metric isn't as important as we're making it out to be. Now it's the draft combine. We're not seeing guys going up against different guys. It's just really just physicals. But I mean, there's plenty of guys. I mean that have I remember Chris Johnson back in 2009, 10, whatever. Dude was nuts. He had like a 4.28. But I remember he had 1 or 2 insane years and then just fell off. And that goes back to my running back issue. But for the most part, a lot of these things, I see them and I'm like, okay, yeah, you might not be able to do as good here or there. I'm going to throw in a basketball reference. Kevin Durant was just a lanky Slenderman in the NBA combine. I mean, he came in, dude couldn't do like a single freaking bench press. I mean, he did noodle arms.
That's because he
People thinking
refuses
this
to work out.
Exactly. And that's my point is, oh, this guy doesn't even work out. It's like, I'm still taking him, knowing what I know now, I'm still taking him. So it's one of those things where like, I look at some of these and I'm like, yeah, that was a negative. It might hurt you a little bit draft stock wise, but it's at the same time, like we're looking at film, we're looking at how good you can do doing the thing we need you to do. That being said, Emmett Johnson, running back out of Nebraska, I don't know why he did that little agility drill. It definitely screwed him. I saw somewhere there was a tweet from some guy, Ryan Heath, basically said, let me just pull this up. It was the only running back to even participate in the 3-cone drill. The only guys that have been drafted since 2010 that were below his, none of them had been taken before day 3. Basically just saying like, okay, this was probably just not a smart thing to do. I mean, it's kind of the same deal with a lot of these, like downs, not participating as much. A lot of guys, the top guys, like, I'm not going to bother doing that. Why would I even risk it? It's like I'm already going to be a top pick. I don't need to do this. All I risk is, going down. So maybe this was something he felt like he needed to prove. Maybe he just hadn't worked on it, but I thought that was disappointing. And I think that's because of that, I think it's going to hurt him even further.
For sure. Yeah. Going into the combine, I think a lot of people were putting him as RB3 in the class. And I don't know if that's the case anymore. So I definitely think that hurt him. All right, Will, who's your NFL Combine loser?
I'm going to stick in the same vein here with Carnell Tate. He only ran the 40, and he didn't have to, and it just hurt him. That's all it did. I mean, he didn't do the cone drills, didn't do the shuttle, didn't do the jump, didn't do either jumps. He ran a 4.53 when, whether reasonable or not, everyone's expecting him to run in the mid-4s, and he just didn't. He ran a 4.53 twice, and everyone's looking at him like, eee. But at the same time, that's the same speed that Dez ran, or not Dez, that CD ran. I mean, Devontae Adams ran that. You could just run down the list of number one wide receivers on teams that ran the same speed. So I almost feel as if we are looking at what we expect and we don't find that, and so we're putting too much stock into it, because what matters more to me is the film he puts up. We've already talked about Carnell Tate, and we already said the same thing. Here is this year's Ohio State wide receiver who's going to lead a team quietly, right? Just this year's guy. I don't think this 4.53 hurts him that bad, in my opinion, but I'm not a GM or scout, and I'm not the one sitting there making the decision. Did it help him at all? No, absolutely not. I do think it makes him a loser because of the combine, not a loser in life, obviously, because he didn't do anything to boost his stock. He did stuff to hurt his stock. But yeah, I don't like the decision he made. He didn't have to do it. Although I do wish they would have a more uniform across the board. You either all are or you all aren't. I don't know, either or, like you do all of the things or you do none of the things per person. And so, like, if you're gonna run, you have to jump and cones and everything. Quit picking and choosing based off of your strengths, because as somebody who's sitting here doing these scouting reports, I look at that and I'm like, okay, so you chose not to do these other things because you assumed you were going to do bad. So you were unwilling to do hard things that are going to put you out there as possibly doing bad. That I'm judging that a whole lot more than I'm judging you doing it and not getting a time that I think you should get, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the difference for Carnell Tate running the 4.53 and like a guy like CeeDee Lamb is I don't think it was a concern for CeeDee Lamb going into the draft where he couldn't separate on deep routes. But that is a concern with Carnell Tate. So I think that's one of the reasons why he's a loser in that situation, because teams wanted to see him run like a 4.4 or even like a 4.45. And I know there's not that much difference between the two numbers, but if he would have ran in the 4.4s, I think those concerns might have gone away a little bit. But now that he ran a 4.53, I think that concern of him not being able to separate on deep routes is still there. So although he can win the jump balls, like he's a jump ball winner, those concerns of him not being able to separate down the field are still going to be part of his process throughout the whole draft process. So I think that's kind of the difference between him and like a guy like CeeDee Lamb. For my loser of the combine, I'm going with Texas A&M edge Cassius Howell. I think Cassius Howell was a loser at the combine simply because of his arm measurements. Nobody talked about it because they were too focused on Ruben Bain's arm measurements, which measured at 30 7/8 inches. But Howell was another guy who was rumored to have short arms, and the measurements confirmed it. His arms are even shorter than Bain's, measuring at 30 1/4 inch. Howell was frequently mocked in the first round, but honestly, there's a strong chance that he falls to the second round after his arm measurements because they are significantly shorter than Ruben Bain's arms, and his arms are already a concern for a lot of teams. He had an overall average showing at the combine. He had a good 40 time. He had the best 10-yard split among the edge players, but his vert and his broad jump weren't impressive at all. I don't think his test numbers really matter that much just because of how short his arms are. So really, I think he's just a loser because his arms were significantly shorter than Ruben Bain's arms, who everyone is already concerned about how short his arms are. So I think really it's just how short his arms are is why he's a loser of the NFL Combine.
I have nothing to add there. I agree completely with what you said.
Yep.
All right. Avery, give us the second loser.
You're not going to like this. I put McCoy Lemon.
Boo.
Yep.
Get off the podcast.
I've seen what makes you cheer. Your boos mean nothing to me. I put the big reason is, well, one, the interview just kind of turned me off from him a little bit. Just maybe he's just got a weird way of being, or he was just a little nervous.
I mean, I
or
did
whatever.
tell you his comp. I did tell you his comp was Antonio Brown. So
Yeah, no,
makes
I know,
sense.
but your comp was pre-CTE Brown, so I
I never
it
said that.
was
I never said that.
it was implied because that was when he was good. Um, I I mean, I think he's good and stuff, and so I'm not saying he's gonna necessarily fall that far, but I think the gauntlet was the only thing he did, and he missed like the first ball or the second. It was before he even started to run. And I remember thinking, I was watching it, and I remember seeing some other guys go, and I'm like, man, this doesn't even look. I mean, I understand like when you're sprinting, you're supposed to keep going, you're supposed to stay in line, catch it in stride, look comfortable and everything. And I understand that. And I thought he was, fine there. But I remember the first two balls. I'm like, man, the quarterback doesn't even wind up to throw it until after the receiver's already totally facing him, hands out. I was kind of thinking like, man, I feel like they should like throw the ball at least like a half a second earlier so you turn around and just have to catch it. And I feel like that's a lot of catches in football are those kind of anticipatory throws where it's like you turn around, the ball's already halfway to you. So I just see this drill and I'm like, this just seems a little like that part seems a little too easy. You haven't even started running yet. Why are they like waiting for you to totally set up? And it just hits him in both hands right over his helmet. And I'm like, okay. So when I saw that, and then I'm like, that's the only thing you did, and you like couldn't even catch the second ball to me. And then with the interviews, I'm like, all right, this it's given a little diva to me. Joel's not gonna like
Antonio
that. Joel likes him a
Brown.
lot.
Antonio Brown.
I don't think that's a safe bet. If you knew this is Antonio Brown and he's going to get CTE, let's see how long you can get it before he starts taking off his clothes and running off the field. So no, I just thought after that, I'm like, okay, nah. For how high I was on him before, I'm like, nah. I'm a little bit of a doubter now. I'm a little bit of
He
a
just needed to have
not
a
as much faith.
defender on him in order to make the catch. If he had a
That must
defender there, he would have made a catch.
that must be it. That must be it. Because I saw that and I was like, dude, like that's one of those things I'm like, okay, can we please start again? Like that was so embarrassing. Like that's never
The
happened to me in
interview
my life.
was definitely
I swear
weird
this
for sure.
normally never happens. This is so strange. Go ahead.
I also thought it was funny that he said he modeled his game after Amon-Ra St. Brown because I specifically asked you guys to not do that.
Everyone other than us is giving him that. Analysts, himself, everybody. The fact that he said it, I'm like, okay, why don't you say like I'm me? It's like, oh, there we go. Still unoriginal, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
all right, Will, who do you have as a combine loser?
I have a guy who didn't do anything at the combine except for show up. He got measured and didn't do anything else, and that's Jermod, McCoy. We're going to talk about him a little bit more today.
You want to know why he didn't do anything?
Because he said his body's not ready yet. And
He's
it's
recovering
his
from an
body,
ACL.
his choice. Joel, that ACL happened 14 months ago. Aaron Rodgers was back at practice 79 days after ripping his Achilles at 39 years old. This boy is in his early 20s, and he tore his ACL 14 months ago, took an entire year off. He tore it in January 25. They were expecting him to play football October 25 for the University of Tennessee Volunteers. Took the entire year off. Now it is February. It's March 1st today, but February 28th, 2026, and he's still saying, my body's not ready yet. If I'm an
his
NFL
body, his
guy,
choice.
Exactly. And it's my team, my choice, and you're not.
What a choice. What a choice he made.
He's got the worst yips of all time because he's got the biggest mental block and he's afraid. He's just afraid to put any pressure on it because he doesn't want to tear it again. And you see this happen sometimes. These guys come back from these major knee injuries and leg injuries and they're just afraid to do anything on it. And that's fine. That's all well and dandy. But you don't get to be top 15 pick and also do this. Those two just don't.
I don't think he's
cohabitate.
going top 15.
Not
I don't think
anymore.
he's going top
There's
15.
no way. He doesn't get to say my body's not ready to do this 14 months after the tear and then also go top 15 because that is the biggest red flag. Knee injuries for anybody in NFL, knee injuries have to be one of the biggest red flags, and it is 15 or 14 months later. I know I keep repeating myself, but 14 months later and he's still not ready to do anything. Dude, you are throwing away your career. I hope you took those months and graduated college.
I want to go with what Will said. I agree. I tore my ACL. I was back in 8 months. I was going to
ask you about this, Avery. I was going to ask
Yeah.
A regular human.
You guys remember that?
A regular human. In
yeah.
the same week that his wisdom teeth taken out.
Avery is an elite athlete, okay?
Avery is a dad bod with no kids.
That's so good and so mean. That's so good. I got to use that. Not only that, I even had Greg Oden's microfracture surgery, and that put him in the grave in the NBA. Granted, I mean, and that's the thing is, I mean, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, of course, I'm absolutely not performing at the highest level. But if I see a guy, I mean, right now, again, basketball reference, Caleb Wilson is hurt. And he's probably going to show back up like right around the postseason. But it's one of those things where if he decided, you know what, there's only the ACC tournament in March Madness, I'm still recovering, I'm just not going to play. The assumption there is that you are now preparing for the combine. If you take that season off and you haven't done it, like, okay, so now we are expecting for the real job interview, you will be ready, right? And then he gets to it, it's like, I'm just not ready. It's like, dude, what are you waiting for? What is it now? Because at that point, it's like, okay, are you just slow to heal? Do you have the yips, as Will said? It is one of those things like, hey, that's a big question mark. It's the same deal, again, basketball. Darren Peterson, I don't know if you guys know who that is, Kansas point guard, combo guard, I guess, going to be the #1 draft pick, most likely, is already managing his load. Already comes in, plays some games, plays well, and then subs himself out. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is frustrating. One, because there's NIL people paying you, but also it's like, how is this going to translate? You're not just magically going to get more mature when you get to the NFL. Like, these are habits you build now. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, especially if I'm the fan of the team that drafts him, okay, there had to have been someone better. Unless it was like 7th round, then I'm like, all right, we can just go ahead and take him.
All right, well, I just have one more loser I want to mention real quick, and then we'll get into some scouting reports. I think Notre Dame wide receiver Malachi Fields was a loser from the NFL Combine because he ran a 4.6 140. Fields was in the conversation to be a late first-round pick after he had a very strong performance at the Senior Bowl, but running a 4.61 likely pushed him back into the second round. When you watch Fields on tape, you'll see that he's not a dynamic route runner, and he doesn't consistently separate from man coverage, which is exactly what his 4.6 140 time confirmed. He's more of a guy who wins at the catch point because he's 6'4". I just don't think teams will choose to draft a guy in the first round who can't consistently separate, because winning contested catches is cool, but receivers who can't find separation at the NFL level don't often work out. So I think that 4.61 just really hurt Malachi Fields. All right. Do you guys have anything else before we move on to the scouting reports?
Nope.
All right. Cool. So I'm going to share my screen, get the slideshow going. So we're going to jump back into Tennessee corner Jermod McCoy because he is the number 19 player on the ESPN Top 50 Big Board. And so, I kind of feel like you guys don't like him very much, but just going based off of
things to say.
Okay. Well,
I have a lot of nice things to say.
I'll start because I have some nice things to say about him. I really like Jermod McCoy because he doesn't just cover wide receivers. He's often running routes better than they are. He moves with the receivers like he already knows the route. And he was a two-way player in high school playing both corner and wide receiver. And I think every bit of his experience at the receiver position shows up on tape. He's got the awareness to know where the ball is at all times. He's always getting his head turned around, and he tracks the ball and attacks the ball like he's the intended target. I think he's got everything you want in a corner at the NFL level. He's got size, physicality, the ability to track the ball. It's just really unfortunate that he tore his ACL in an off-season training session in January of 2025, because if he hadn't, I think he'd easily be a top 15 pick in this draft. Just based off of his 2024 tape, I think he's an awesome player, But as you guys mentioned, there is something kind of weird going on there with his recovery from this ACL injury.
I agree with everything you said. Until 2024, he was elite. Exceptional zone timing, top level ball skills translating to turnovers, advanced route recognition with physical ability to stay on defenders in all parts of the field, willing to put in the work to fight for deflection, get a turnover, or if they make the play, make the tackle immediately for a limited number of yards after the catch. And like we're kind of beating this dead horse, he just didn't play last year. If it were up to me, I think he should redshirt or medical gray shirt or whatever it would be at this point and come back to Tennessee for one more year. Because I think as a scout, as a GM, I'm sitting down in interviews with him, and the only question I'm drilling into him is, why didn't you play? Well, I was hurt. Well, you were hurt in January. Why didn't you play? Why didn't you actually play? Guys come back from this, and I list the number of people who come back from it in less than 10 months when you play at all the entire season. You miss a year of your life for what? And make him answer that question. Yeah, I like what he put on film. I just don't like that he had no film last year. That is a huge, major red flag.
Yeah, but his 2024 tape was very good.
Yes, incredible.
I think
Oregon State Beaver legend. Excuse me. Pardon me to cut in there. Oregon State Beaver legend, Jermod McCoy. Let's not forget.
He's stuck with the orange. He's going to the Browns.
Absolutely. Pick 5.
Yeah. I see this kind of the same way as you guys. I think, his tape was very, very good. And it's one of those things where generally I would say, like, maybe you should, stick around. But if you're already projected a first round, as a cornerback, I almost just feel like there's not really a reason. It's kind of the same in college basketball where it's like if you're already a lottery pick, it's like that's kind of just the green light from everyone in your circle, coaches included, be like, yeah, this is, especially, here, it's like you could get injured and something could happen. You might as well just go ahead and secure the bag. And this could be something where, again, just like, some of these guys who didn't, participate. It's like, I'm going to let my game film speak for itself. I'm not going to give people a reason to doubt. Now, this is a very, very big reason to doubt, but I do think that his tape before shows, okay, he's got these tools. At that point, like Will said, I'd be drilling him like, what's the reason here? I want to get a better feel for like who you are as a person, what motivates you, what is your motive here? Is it just, I don't want to devalue myself? Is it just, I'm physically not ready and this actually did very much alter me and I'm trying to bluff it until I get to the draft? I hope that's not the case. I don't think it is, but it is definitely a worry.
Yeah, for sure. Just to bring up something else I think he needs to work on from his 2024 tape, he had 8 penalties called on him in 2024, and I don't know what penalties they were. I didn't find the specifics on what penalties were called, but I would assume that they were for holding because he does get grabby downfield. And, again, I think he's very good at turning his head when the ball is in the air to avoid like pass interference penalties. So I would assume that they were holding penalties, but I think he does need to work on how he's grabbing receivers when he's downfield. Because I think he's really good at turning his head, but I think he just grabs onto the receiver too much, which gets him called for those penalties. So something he does need to work on there. But just one more thing that I have to bring up. He had 4 interceptions in 2024. 3 of those came within the opponent's 3-yard line. And I think that goes back to his background as a wide receiver because he plays the fade routes in the end zone very well and he puts himself in the right position to make the play. So again, I think his experience, even though it was at the high school level, I think his experience as a wide receiver in high school shows up on tape when you watch this guy play. Do you guys have anything else you want to add with Jermod McCoy?
Nope. I told you a bunch of nice things to say about him.
You did. You just talked up on him for a while, so.
Just wait till we get to Lee Hunter.
All right, well, let's move on to the number 20 player.
I was really hoping it would be Lee Hunter right there.
No, he's next. I knew he was next. Or not next. I knew he was third today.
All right, well, let's move on to the number 20 player on ESPN's Top 50 Big Board, which is Clemson defensive tackle Peter Woods. Will, before the show, you told me you really like this guy, so why don't you start us off with Peter Woods?
Yeah, athletic testing is free for his size, consistent high motor throughout the whole game. I mean, it doesn't matter what the score is either. He is going to be constant, going at it the entire game. Strong and well-timed hand striking, He's going to have to make the switch from being the best and biggest on the field to actually using technique. So that's going to be a huge area of improvement in the NFL because he's no longer just going to be the biggest body out there. But he is fast. He's explosive. He eats up a double team and he's got this 2-hand slide where he just throws people around and gets to it. And he's a defensive tackle first and foremost, but Clemson moves him around the line a lot. And I wish they wouldn't have. If he'd have been able to take the entire year to hone in his 3-tech or his straight up nose tackle abilities, I think he'd be even better. But I love what he's got going on. I think he's the best defensive tackle in this draft. Not best defensive lineman, but best tackle specifically in this draft. I think he's going to cause real problems at the next level. He's a bit leaner at 310, but at 6'3", he's got a long body with long arms. He get the hands up and the pass deflections. That's what you see most from defensive tackles. They're willing to put in the work, but not get the statistics for it. And that's why statistically you don't see a lot of numbers from him. 2 sacks for the entire season. But from a D tackle, that's actually pretty good. So you want him in there eating the lineman up, eating the blocks up. He's very good in the run, good run stopper. Gets his head across, able to see where the ball's moving. I love what he's got going on. He's just going to have to improve in his technique moving into the draft and into the NFL.
Can I ask, Will, was there anything that wowed you about Peter Woods?
No. Actually, yes. One thing, excuse me. His consistency. He was consistent throughout the entire game. And I think that's what raises him up so much. He does nothing exceptional, nothing like blows you out of the water. And then you realize it's the fourth quarter. You're up by 20, and he's still playing at the same intensity that he was playing at snap number 1. And that is really what you're looking for. It doesn't matter what they're doing. He's just playing. It's like a guy who just loves football. He just wants to be in and wants to play. And he runs hard from sideline to sideline. He tries to make the play every single time. I just love everything he's got going on, especially from the defensive tackle position.
Yeah, the reason I brought that up, the reason I asked that is because I don't feel like there was anything that wowed me on tape about Peter Woods. There wasn't anything that I hated. I just didn't think there was anything that made me really like fall in love with him. And so that's why I asked, because I just didn't think that there was anything that really like wowed me, like Akeem Mesidor's motor, like that wowed me on tape. There was nothing about Peter Woods that like wowed me, like made me fall in love with the guy. So that's why I asked.
What Will said there last, that's what I also noticed. It's that consistency, it's that motor, but also like that hustle, especially in the fourth quarter, being able to maintain that level of play. And honestly, we've talked about other guys that have these just kind of insane strengths in certain areas, but then you also see the weakness on the flip side of it. And I think that this is what a coach would want. Someone who is consistent, a known quantity, someone exactly what you're going to get from them every week. And I thought that, it's like the pass rushing, I was like, okay, you can get an edge rusher, in on that. But seeing that, like what you put on the scouting report, that sideline to sideline hustle, I thought just his motor, his ability to just keep going. Because that's the thing is, especially in the fourth quarter, it's these little moments, these little lapses in energy or effort that, you miss a tackle, it's a blown assignment, and then the guy's off to the races. So I think seeing this guy, and maybe it's because he's a little leaner that he's able to do that, but I think that is exciting to me. Someone that, you see something, you're like, honestly, great all around. Couldn't really find anything that was any outstanding strength, but definitely no outstanding weakness. Just, exactly what you're going to get from him.
Yeah. And I think something to note too, there's a bunch of guys in this draft class that are from Clemson, but it's something to note with all these guys from Clemson is pretty much every single one of them took a step back in 2025 compared to 2024. I don't know what happened to Clemson's defense, but for some reason, all these guys took a step back, at least statistically, in 2025 versus 2024. So that's something to note there. So I think that's kind of a more of a defensive issue, like defensive coordinator type of issue versus the actual players issue. So just something to note. Will, you were going to say something?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So to put in perspective about statistics there, we've got listed 20 tackles, 2 sacks. Last year, Jalen Carter was hurt this year. Arguably, Jalen Carter, one of the best defensive tackles in the league.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, he plays for the Eagles, so.
So in 2024, he only played 11 games last year, so we're taking that last year out. 2024, full season, had 4.5 sacks and 42 combined tackles. So you're not looking for like Myles Garrett type sacks and tackles and things like that from your defensive tackle. Your statistic size just scales down due to the position. And so 30 tackles and 2 sacks on a year for a tackle are actually pretty good numbers. We just aren't used to saying 2 sacks in a year is a good number for a defensive lineman of any kind. Just to put it into perspective.
That's true. Well, let's move on to the number 21 player on ESPN's Top 50 Big Board, which is Texas Tech defensive tackle Lee Hunter. Will, I know you got some things to say about him, so I'm going to have you start again. Tell us about Lee Hunter.
All right. Listen. I am...
You know it's
right
bad
around,
when Will starts like that.
I am right around the same size as this dude, okay? Height and weight combo, I'm right around the same physical stature of this dude. Okay, so when I am talking here, I'm talking as a true comp. The difference
Same
is...
athletic ability, too.
The difference is I have not just spent the last years of my life in college where I have top-of-the-line training facilities and meal plans and all of this stuff. Okay, I'm going to run down our strengths here on the list. Impressive upper body strength. Absolute truth. Difficult to move with one-on-one blocks. Possibly the hardest to move. Because he's listed at 320, there is no way. I don't know what he weighed in the combine. I don't know what he weighed in the combine, but he was for sure drinking castor oil and just emptying the bowels to get that weight down. Anyway, makes consistent plays in the backfield. He is an unbelievable run stopper. This dude, when he's got some of the strongest arms and vice grips for hands, when his hands get on you, you're going down. Because he's a big dude who's just laying on you, and you just can't get up. That's just what's happening. Now, I do want to pull up his combine numbers, because I do believe I read that he had ground scraping vertical. I believe that was the exact quote, which, in case you're wondering, is not a good thing.
While you're pulling that up, just to tell you guys how bad of an athlete he is.
Ground scraping vertical.
Yeah.
That's the one.
He put up a score of a 53 athleticism score.
That's the one.
Is bad. That's bad.
Right.
That's horrible.
He 5'18", 5.18 40-yard dash. That is actually rather fast. It is not fast for the people, but for what you're thinking a nose tackle is going to be, I'm not mad about this man running a 5'18". The problem is his 1.78 or 1.79 10-yard split. That's what truly matters more. When you're talking nose tackles and you're talking offensive linemen, the 40, who cares? These guys are never running 40 yards on a play in their life. Throw that number away. What you care about more is the 10-yard split, and he's doing 10 yards in almost 2 full seconds, and that's a problem. That is too slow. 21.5-inch vertical jump, 8'4" broad jump. That is nothing. This dude can't even dunk. And listen, I can't dunk either, but I'm not a 23-year-old college athlete. I just, without trying to say he's a fat sack of crap, I'm trying to find another way to say it. He is so unathletic. He is unbelievably unathletic. When I was trying so hard to find good things to say about this man. I watched probably 30 minutes worth of his highlight films. Never once was a highlight of his with a double team. Every single highlight of his is one-on-one, and he is unblockable one-on-one because of his sheer size and strength. The problem is he bends at the waist. He bends at the waist and leans on you, and if you step back, he's falling flat on his butt because he no longer has a center of gravity. And so if you let him in on you, he leans in, and he's not bending at his knees, he's bending at the waist, he's going to fall flat on his face. He is slow, he's unathletic, but he does do things very good. He will stay on the line of scrimmage He gets his head across. He reads the run very well. He has no pass rush. In the NFL, when people can just outrun him, and by people I mean just regular offensive linemen can just outrun him, he's going to just get swept under the rug as like, oh, well, this guy didn't make it. Just like last year, that dude that was, I think he was in the Buccaneers, and they wouldn't let him play because he had to get his weight down.
Oh yeah, Desmond Watson.
That's the dude. Yeah,
He never officially made the team though.
Sure. I think we're going to be in a very similar scenario where Lee Hunter will get drafted probably late first round, maybe early second round, and he'll get on the team, and they won't let him play. You are not athletic enough to get on the field with these other actual athletes, because when you see it, you see it in high school sports a lot more, and yeah, pretty much just in high school sports, because it doesn't happen at the collegiate level or the professional level. When one team is physically worse than the other team, they are just so different. That's when the least athletic and the least physical team starts getting hurt. These players cannot physically keep up, and everyone just gets hurt. Same thing here. He has the strength to do it, but he does not have the physical athleticism to keep up with the athletes that are offensive linemen now. And if you don't think an offensive lineman is an absolute athlete, go ahead and watch those guys on the combine. They ran today, March 1st. Watch those guys do their leg drills and their footwork drills. These guys are just so athletic nowadays because they have to be because of the speed of the game. And Lee Hunter does not measure up athletically. Incredibly strong. When he gets his hands on you, he will not let go. He is going to be a hole in the defense.
Yeah, no, I agree with Will. I think that coming from someone we just went from, just saying this guy is just consistent, just all around, solid player. Here's a guy that plays football when he's physically able to, that does one thing, very well. And that is, it's like, hey, dude is gambling it all on every one of these pass rushes where it's like bending at the hips. It really just takes one intelligent lineman to just be like, I'm gonna call this guy's bluff. It reminds me of Joaquin Phoenix's character in Signs. He was this dude. He was going to play baseball, and he had like the most strikeouts like ever. And this whole thing was just like, it felt wrong not to swing. And that's just kind of what this reminds me of a little bit. But also, yeah, dude is severely, severely unathletic. And it's kind of strange. I feel like we have been shitting on, sorry, Dad, these Texas Tech defenders. Like, is this the third? Is this the fourth one or just the third? Because I know this is definitely the third. But anyway,
have we done
all
two
of
of
these guys.
I think it's just David Bailey and Lee Hunter.
Was it not another one? Maybe there wasn't.
There will be another one in Jacob Rodriguez coming up soon, but not yet.
I think it's just the two of them now.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, either way, yeah. Rough. It's strange. I mean, they played in the Big 12. They had a pretty good schedule. They won a lot of games. They got beat down by Oregon. Barely, but I mean, they won that game. But no, I think that this guy it's going to be one of those things where, yeah, the training staff is going to have to make sure they get this guy on not only a plan, like a diet plan, but like just a exercise routine. This ground scraping vertical is brutal. But however, I will say, I bet money this man can run faster than all three of us.
Oh, for sure, 100%. He can outrun me.
Which is the funniest thing. That's the funniest thing. It's 5'18". No, I'm like, I don't even know if I could run that.
I can't. I know I can't.
Next time we're all together, we're going to run a 40 for sure.
That's fine. I'll do it.
4 times. We got to go in the draft combine ourselves. Figure out how bad we are.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Go ahead, Will.
Just one more thing here real quick. To keep bringing it back to basketball, my biggest fear here is you're going to get like a Greg Oden or like a Zion Williamson, right? You've got all this power, all this potential. Your career is going to be riddled with injury. I'm often surprised when I hear Zion's actually in. Oh, yeah, Zion's playing tonight. Oh, really? That surprises me. But he's just so consistently hurt because he's too powerful for his body. His body got too big and too powerful without his ligaments keeping up with it. And that is the problem. I think it's going to be Lee Hunter's problem as well, is he's too big and too powerful for his ligaments. I truly think that's why he bends at the waist more than bending with his knees, because his knees can't drive him the way that he can just use his upper body strength.
I really don't have anything else to add. You guys pretty much covered everything that I would have said. So, yeah. So let's, I'm going to share my other screen here. So, Avery, let me know if you like this, because this is how we're going to be doing our draft board.
I do like it. I love it.
All right.
I want
so
some more of it.
I've got the 3 guys that we talked about on the bottom of this list. So currently ranked 19, 20, and 21. So first, before we rank these guys, based off of what happened at the Combine, are there any guys on our current list 1 through 18 that you guys want to move anywhere else?
I feel like Jeremiah Love's earned his way up, but that's just me.
I think Avery might have something to say about that.
I don't know. I think 8's still fine. I think, like Joel said, I think he's still kind of like that's where he should.
He's in the same spot.
He's a really good running back, but he's still.
Well, Sonny Styles should move up.
Sonny Styles is
number 2. Probably the number 2. Honestly,
I'd probably move number 2.
I wouldn't
if
be
not
mad about
1.
putting him at number 1. Honestly, I'm
okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. I'm actually okay with moving Sonny Styles to 1. Caleb Downs, he didn't show up.
I'm totally fine with that.
He did not have as good a Caleb Downs. Did Caleb Downs even perform?
He didn't even test. He didn't even test.
He did anything.
And so I'm like cool losing a ranking because on a bye week, but still, all Sonny Styles did was prove how good he was. So,
I mean, we might as well just move Carnell Tate to number 4. Just keep the top 4 players at Ohio State. Yeah.
No.
All right. Yeah, I'm cool with that if you guys are cool with that. Is there anybody else you guys want to move around?
Should we move Sadiq up?
Yeah. I like him at 11.
Above Mesidor?
I like that.
And mainly, I mean, I would move him up higher, but he is still just a tight end. So I don't think he's necessarily like extremely game changing as some of these other players. If, because it's one of those things like if the scheme even uses him correctly. But I like him at 11.
Okay, cool. All right, so now we got to move these 3 guys in. So where do you guys think Jermod McCoy should be?
I like him right there.
At 19?
Yep. He didn't perform at all, but I don't want to take away from his athleticism. I don't want to take that away from him, but he has literally shown nothing in 14 months to prove he's better, but I can't say he's worse.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Do you guys think Lee Hunter is the worst player on this list?
Yes, I do.
Do we think he's worse than Fano?
I do. He's way less athletic.
Yeah, Fano is a much better athlete than Lee Hunter. Okay, so where do you guys want to put Peter Woods then?
I think he goes above Ruben Bain.
I was even thinking, yeah, below Lomu, above Bain.
It's right there at 16.
I like that.
And then I would move Fano down 1.
And put McCoy above Fano?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
I mean, we don't have to, but
no, I'm cool with that. If we're just going based off of McCoy's 2024 tape, then I think he should be above Fano. That it's just a tough one because he's hurt. So
right.
It's kind of hard to rank him just because we don't know what he's going to be.
Right. Yeah, but we do know how bad we know how bad Lee Hunter is athletically, and we know Fano is what he is. Did he test? Do we know if he tested?
Yeah, he tested.
How did he do?
He ran a 4.9 140, which was, I think, one of the better 40s for the tackles.
Yeah, he had a 90 on his athleticism score.
Yeah,
91
everything
combined rank overall.
What we said about Fano with his ability to win with his movements is what showed up at the Combine.
Okay, let's put Lee Hunter into a bit of perspective here. Fano measured at 6'5.5", 311 pounds. So taller and about the same weight as Lee Hunter. 32-inch vertical jump versus a 21-inch vertical jump, and a 9'3" broad jump versus an 8'2" broad jump. Okay, so that's kind of stuff we're talking about here. Like, he jumped over a foot taller and horizontally than Lee Hunter.
Yeah.
So I'm good with the board the way it is right now, if you guys are cool with that.
I like it.
Yeah. I like that.
Okay, cool. So we'll put McCoy in at 19, Lee Hunter's going in at 21, and then we put Peter Woods at 16.
We don't have to change it, but I would like to say that I would switch Carnell Tate and Mekhi Lemon. We don't have to do it, but that's what I would do.
Will?
Even after Carnell Tate's slow 40 time?
Yep. I have no issue with that. In fact, that goes back to the 40 times of some of these other better players where it's like, honestly, don't even care that much. Like, he showed it on the field. I don't think it's a huge deal, honestly. Those two guys, it's probably kind of like splitting hairs here, but that's what I would do. I don't expect you guys to move it, but that's what I would do.
I would rather put Jeremiah Love at 6, Carnell Tate at 8, Mekhi Lemon at 9.
I'd be okay with that.
Because Jeremiah Love stayed after and ran extra routes that he did not have to. He ran extra from these guys. And all he did was continue to prove how good he is out of the backfield, receiving, running. There's a point, I was watching his combine tape. There's a point where he's trapping his feet over pads. His foot clips a pad, and he just stomps through it, doesn't miss a beat, picks it right back up, and keeps going. Doesn't trip, doesn't stumble, just keeps going like that. I've done that before and ate so much dirt. I fell so hard. That is not easy.
That's what would happen to Lee Hunter. That's what would happen to Lee Hunter.
That is for sure what would happen to Lee Hunter.
All right. I'm cool with these rankings if you guys are cool with that.
I'm cool.
I like this. I like how fluid that big board is.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right. Cool. So that's what we've got time for on today's episode. But next week, we're going to be back with Avery's cousin coming on the show. And hopefully this time he'll actually make an appearance on the show. We're still going to be talking about the NFL draft, but we're going to be doing it a little bit differently than we have been. So stay tuned for that. And as always, don't forget to keep your balls played with. We'll see you next time.
Bye now, y'all. Also, Mark Davis's haircut still sucks.